Hiya Hinsters. Yes, I'm back after a few months off. A couple of you did contact me to check in. I'm fine. Thank you for asking. I've had some changes, good and bad, but let's get back to the Hinster astrology. And during the first air season of the Astro year, no less, Gemini season. And if you're a new Hinster, welcome to the channel. Please do consider subscribing if you like what I do. And if any of the Hinsters are interested in a personal reading, check out the description below. I've just adjusted all of my rates, so there should be something for everyone. Alrighty, so Gemini season, I think we're more than halfway through. So it's definitely well and truly kicked in. But yes, the first gush of air in the Astro year. And it's an outward season. It's a quote unquote light season. I often think of Gemini energy as the birds and the bees, all that buzzes and skits around the air with a sort of springly excitement. And of course, it's not about the literal season, spring, really, but spiritual spring, when the fruits of the seeds planted in Taurus season, which came out of the brave imagination of Aries season before that, are somehow coming to bear. And the odd thing about Gemini season, or this Gemini season in particular, is that really we shouldn't be too surprised by what fruits we're bringing to sort of come and pop in our basket. We do have this overarching metal ox year energy, which is definitely kicked in good and proper by now, coming after the rat year, right? And so we really do see that we get what we're given. This year is going to be pretty like pure and simple, pretty black and white. And the more we try to resist that fact, the harder it kind of gets. And so we really do see that, yes, we get what we're given. And also that our big efforts to shift away from the wrong thing does eventually drag us over to the right thing. It's just that Gemini season brings these right things to us a little quicker than anticipated. And we sort of feel like we might lose our balance, like a cow sort of being ushered a little too quickly along the field. Now, Mercury is currently retrograding as well in Gemini, which is a sign that it rules. So, do let me know in the comments as well where you have Gemini in your birth chart and where this retrograde is affecting your life. So we do also have the typical Mercury retrograde things going on. And if we know, we know, like never before, really, that the little trippy uppy things in life aren't supposed to further impede us, but actually make us see how trivial some things are, yet how seriously we take those trivial things. So, typical stuff like the toilets get blocked, someone who isn't, reading your messages, or you're not reading someone's messages properly, and you have to repeat yourself, or they do, or there's something that you're just not seeing. Self-awareness can be really low in Gemini season. Or the bus, your bus route that you take keeps having issues. But really, a lot of this does also touch on that subversive, simple fact that we already know which little things we still need to pay attention to this year, this time. We know that a little laziness here is going to create the hiccups here, and a little airheadedness over there is going to create mishaps over there. Like it's going to be pretty clear cut. Like you can't miss really what you're doing and why what you're doing is tripping you up. It should be pretty obvious. Yes, it's not rocket science, and it's not surprising for most of us. And Saturn is also retrograding right now, and in Aquarius. And again, this is a retrograding planet in a sign that it rules. So we get even more of the airheadedness, and a lot of people saying things that they probably wouldn't say, if they took the time and the space to look at what they're actually saying to someone or to themselves or whatever. And the Saturn retrograde, and also this particular combination of the two planets, Saturn and Mercury retrograding at the same time, it creates lots of little things that we just have to get used to, like not expecting your boss, for example, or your parents to be too reliable right now. And you might actually find that there's this inversion of roles for the next few months for some of you. So try to see the clever potential within all of this. That's very Gemini season, rather than getting frustrated and sort of squandering something that could actually be quite useful and canny. And we've also really got to watch our rash decisions, especially with these retrogrades, and just take like a little breather amidst the madness to see if jumping ship is the right thing to do. I remember actually in the first morning of Gemini season, I was just walking down the street and saw these like magpies dancing with this squirrel, and the squirrel was like really weirdly excited. And the next moment I noticed it got hit by a motorbike, and its head was just like crushed on the road, and it was very like shocking. A couple of people were very shocked, but there was just something about that day as well. It was very, very blustery, and it was almost like the two birds were trying to tell the squirrel not to get overly excited, and that's a typical Gemini season thing. And Gemini season being, as I said earlier, like a quote unquote light season. Of course, like all the other seasons, it has that dark side. There's a danger, right, to that springly dance where we're so dazzled by the excitement and the jazz of all the new connections we are making, and the way that coyote sort of mercurial energy kicks in, that fox energy kicks in, sometimes tempting us to believe that we are cleverer than we actually are. Obviously, it doesn't have to be as dramatic as the squirrel on the road and like incidents like that, but it could be accidents and mishaps and things bursting, but it might likely just be having conversations with people, and in these conversations someone like reveals that same other side darkness of their mind. We probably already know that Gemini, the double-bodied or the mutable air sign, is associated with languages and communication and messages, and being able most primarily to connect with another person and sort of catch their drift, as the saying goes. It's a perfect Gemini season phrase, to catch someone's drift. Very air season Gemini. It's different though to the air sign Libra, who might just be kind of putting on that catching the drift as a performance in order to be polite. That's Libran energy. Gemini energy is quite acrobatic actually, and for at least a short moment, it's the kind of energy that starts to very quickly think, or at least reason alongside the other perspective. Like all the double-bodied signs, it can almost become, it's chameleon-like, this type of energy. It can almost become the other person, but in the air sense, so mentally, conversationally. So there's a lot, this is why, a lot of people will call Geminis two-faced or whatever. It's not true, but there's this two-facedness that comes off based off of the quicksilver lightning mental acrobatics that the average Gemini does on the average day. And we're just all getting a taste of this in Gemini season. And also it's different to the other air sign, Aquarius. Aquarian energy being a sort of energy that quite quickly will inform us about the oppositional or the alternative perspective, and or perhaps, however, in quite an authoritative, it is what it is sort of way. So less flexibly and possibly quite more confrontationally than the typical Gemini. So what I'm saying is we'll quite likely have to listen to people and their dark opinions and find ourselves not agreeing necessarily, but somehow seeing with a playfulness where people are at in their own thought processes and seeing how much people currently know about this or that topic, and finding ourselves also able to quickly forgive in this arena. Sometimes it's better to let someone have their crazy thoughts and their talk, and then you can go and meet someone more like-minded and vent to them about it, reflect on it together, or just with yourself reflect on it, rather than trying to verbally combat someone and their crazy thoughts. Because Gemini energy is crazy quick, as I said, and crazy clever, and you could be there all day. And Gemini isn't just the words, but it's the hands too. So we need to pick our battles, because Gemini season is definitely one of those seasons to find yourself like in a random scrap. And that can be verbally and or physically. With Mercury being retrograde as well, many of us will actually be being reintroduced to these experiences to see if we're learning anything at all. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about this Mars-Pluto opposition. And Pluto is in retrograde as well right now. And we've got Mars in Cancer, where Mars is set to fall. So yes, there'll be a lot of couples or people in relationships kind of pushing each other just a little, like uncomfortably, in a kind of fighting for how we feel within that relationship or that dynamic, getting that sort of urge to assert our own little demand for reciprocity. It's the 69 Cancerian energy coming through. And with Pluto retrograding and opposing that disgruntled Mars, there's another chance for some of us actually to overcome being manipulated by another. There's a good chance for others to sort of win some sort of emotional battle. And finally, because Pluto introduces that tinge of finally something of the past being overcome. And it's also, I think, a big chance for some of us to be exceptionally brave with all this Martian, Aries, Platonic, Scorpionic energy in the air, very revisionary energy as well. And again, oppositional, it's great for some of us to be exceptionally brave about how we feel. And through overcoming the fear of being brave, we transform our position in a relationship. And ideally, we are evolving that relationship. So it's not just about change, but like evolution or next level or something that relates to you and your personal experience. So that's sort of what I've got for now. And I will be back with more soon. I think, we can also just enjoy Gemini season as always, and embrace that sort of exciting vibe of things picking up again. Also, we can really feel just a little more on top of the world in this season, or that our cunning, our Kens, sort of does us a big favor somehow, or finally has done us a big favor, and we're seeing the results, and we've and some of us are getting like stuck, settling finally into a very like comfortable lane finally, and that lane is the one we're going to go down for the most part for the rest of the ox years, up until February at least 2022. It's just when we in Gemini season, the danger that can be introduced is self-doubt and changing a lane too quickly. Because of all that excitement and all the different ideas that will be buzzing around for some people, be careful to distinguish between asking for others' advice and just taking it versus asking for others' advice, so that you can compile it all and then compute, right, the best solution for your particular situation. So not just jumping on the first ship that comes by, because that's another thing that people have been learning already, like that the first opportunity or the first house, the first romantic interest, the first whatever that comes along is not always the best. And that sometimes what we are learning is that you can actually wait around a little bit more for the second or the third option or person. And that's probably actually the better thing, or the thing that you will, in that very ox year away, will settle into. But I think a lot of us already started this settling back in Taurus season. And now we get the excitement from that. We get the mental realizations of that. And that in some people's cases, the mental health really does start to improve. But yeah, this Gemini season is like, it does mark a part of our youthful, curious, or just more active experiences right now. And it will also include both the good and the bad, the blue skies and the passing clouds. With Gemini energy, there really is, and again, especially with Mercury retrograde right now, that need to accept that darkness I mentioned of things and the darkness of others. Not as approval of it, but in order to process it, right? To learn its demeanor and to then promptly jolt around and away from it if you can. So that when Cancer season comes along, we've done the best we could to mentally understand ourselves and others without being harsh. And we've left the rest of the universe. So sort of like you let God take care, right, of any persistent enemies or animosity. And it's about making good, right decisions for our mental health. So that in Cancer and Leo seasons, when we get the cardinal season, which is coming, that cardinal season, and we get the fixed fire season, lots of drama there, or lots of space for drama there. So we want to always, with Leo season, when it does come around, ensure that we've done enough of the karma cleaning to enable the drama space to be like all the good stuff that you want, right? The rejoice, and not the negative drama. And yeah, to save Cancer and Leo seasons for maximum rejoice and minimal drag, so that we're not refusing to let go of toxic energies based on some spiritual arrogance or some God complex we might be sort of possessed by or distracted by, I would say. I think Gemini season can introduce a little bit of that. Gemini, Sagittarius, same axis. We can definitely get with Gemini season a certain mental cockiness that develops, that causes that distraction. It's the fox that gets snared, that type of dynamic. So anyway, have fun, keep it light, let the mercurial hiccups make you laugh more than you cry, laugh off the unpleasant things if you can, when you can. And even if you can't, Gemini season does often provide this beautiful opportunity, I think, to just talk to others, or to research and to get some really nice gems of information to really like discover exactly. Again, it's that computation, that compiling from multiple sources. This is Gemini, right? Multiple hands and multiple pies to really discover exactly the right thing you needed to hear or read for your very specific situation. And then you simply apply it, hopefully, and it has this mercurial knack of working quickly for you and allowing you to progress your mind and your movements to better navigate the systems that you're a part of, rather than being a mere like subject of those systems, if that makes any sense. Anyway, that'll be all for now, Hinsters. I do wish you a lovely Gemini season, the first air season of the Astro year. Let us know in the comments how things are starting out for you, how your elemental temple is looking now that we are approaching the end. Once Cancer season is done, we'll be done with the first quarter. of course, with the recent eclipse that we had in Sagittarius as well, we are beginning a brand new 6-month cycle of letting go of those big and necessary losses. And I hope for you that the eclipse experience has been one of being freed in some sense, or for some people, maybe one of getting close to like some sort of fresh proclamation, finally. Again, there's a sense of finality with these letting goes. And this particular eclipse, of forgiving yourself as well and forgiving others for any harm done around about half a year ago, right? You can check out my services if you are so inclined. I've adjusted my rates for my birth chart readings, tarot readings, birth chart rectification, and also Saturn Return reports. So do get in touch if any of that appeals to you. Okay, I love you all. All the best.